Hello. Welcome back to another Ladies Night live stream. We are here again at 5 o'clock, not 5:30 this time, but back again and fierce as ever. Thank you for coming. I'm your host, First Lady Tammy. Welcome back to Ladies Night stream. You get the women's perspective, you get the women's insight. I am joined by my lovely ladies. What's going on, ladies? How beautiful.
Hey.
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
So glad to see you ladies once again. Yes. Miss Petty Penny's over there. Yes. I'm so glad to see you guys. I'm really excited about our stream once again. To those who are watching, please make sure that you hit that thumbs up. Make sure that you share. Make sure that you subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships so you can catch every single thing that we do, because every single thing that we do is amazing. And you definitely want to know what we're doing. So anyway, today is going to be a good one. Today is going to be a good one. The title of our stream is, when is it okay to mind your own business? Now, before we get to the questions, I just want to tell everybody who's watching where the inspiration for this came from, because I did tell all my lovely ladies about this, but I want everybody who's watching to also know. So the other day, in the morning, I was walking my dog, and I live in Sacramento, California, for those who don't know. But it was 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's not hot out by any means. It's, kind of chilly at 6 o'clock in the morning. And typically there's not really a lot of people out. So I walked one direction, and then I was walking in the direction back to my house. And as I was walking, I seen this lady coming from the opposite direction towards me. And all she was wearing was her bra and panties. That's all she had on, which when I first seen it, I thought it was just kind of odd, because no woman freely wants to walk around in their bra and panties just walking down the street. At first I thought maybe it was a lady on drugs. I wasn't really sure. So as I got closer to her, I could see her face. She didn't really have a happy look on her face or anything like that. But as she was walking past, I kind of turned and I was like, "Are you okay?" And I saw she had earbuds in her ear, so she couldn't hear me. So she wasn't able to respond. So as I turned back to face the direction I was going, this guy came out from nowhere. Don't even know where he came from, but he came out from nowhere, and he had his dog. He was walking with the girl. And so I was just kind of caught off guard, because it was just really just kind of odd, kind of strange. And as I was walking, I turned back to look, and the guy was looking at me as if to say, "Mind your own business." And that whole thing just bothered me the entire day. I mean, I was just thinking, because I didn't know who she was. I was thinking, what happened to her when she got home? You know, did he get upset with her because I said something to her? I was just really just caught up, and it just bothered me to know that she's out there, you know, with this person who I don't know, because I've heard about how there are some men that will humiliate the woman that he's with by making her do certain things. And I don't know if that was the case, but she didn't look like she was happy to be walking out, 6 o'clock in the morning in her underclothes or undergarments. So there was that. And then later on the day, I seen a story about a girl who she was dating a guy and then he was cheating on her. And then after they broke up, the girl that he was cheating with called her, asking her, have you guys been together? What have you guys been doing? And then an hour later, the girl he was cheating with went and shot the girl that he's been in a relationship with. He shot her 17 times, which she's alive to tell the tale, which is a blessing in itself. But it was just crazy. And I guess it was over this guy, which I'm personally not going to fight nobody over no man. That's just me. But it was just crazy because, with that lady, luckily the person who was her neighbor saw it and they called the police. But once she played dead was when the girl finally left. But before that, she was just saying, die, 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 and just kept shooting her. So it was just crazy to me because it's like those are situations where you can intervene, but do you want to intervene is the kind of thing. So that's where the idea for this came from, because I was really disturbed by what I saw, because no woman should ever be subjected to doing anything she doesn't want to do. So that's where the idea for today's stream came from. So yes, that's the update to everybody. I want to say shout out to Gator Girl. She says, peace, queens. I hope you all had a good week. This topic is very necessary. Looking forward to the discussion. Thank you, Gator Girl. We are looking forward to it too. Yeah. And then we have another person tuning in. WT Funk is this. Says, ladies' night, and I feel all right. Okay, you feel all right? We feeling all right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get to our questions, get this party started, because I'm super excited. So we're going to get to question number 1 and get it going. Question number 1 is, what are your thoughts on what First Lady Tammy, myself, talked about for the inspiration of the topic? So, ladies, when I told you about what happened, like what were your thoughts about when I said I wanted to, about that, and then as far as it being the inspiration for the topic? So I'm just going to go around our lovely, I can't even call it a circle, but dang it, I'm going to call it a circle. So I'm going to start with Kris. Kris, what are your thoughts?
It's disturbing. I've seen a few pictures circulate where there have been women at the airport without pants on, just like random stuff like that. And I think the issue is you don't want to. It's not that I feel like I'm not minding my business. I feel sometimes if I interject myself, I don't know what I'm injecting myself into. And so it's a little bit selfish, but I often think, if there's someone more equipped to handle this, I'd rather either call them or hope that somehow they see this and they handle it themselves, especially in a situation where, like you were explaining the story, that this man popped out of nowhere. And if he had seen that you were a threat or something, or you saw something that he didn't want you to see, he could have attacked you. And thank goodness that you're okay. But
yeah,
it's situations like that where I think you can mind your own business. If you want to interject, you do it making sure that you're safe. Mm-hmm. You're safe first, which is a bit selfish, or figure out a safe way to interject, whether that be calling the police, to have them get involved because they're a lot more equipped for it. But yeah, it's definitely a disturbing situation, and it's really hard to tell what to do in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kris. Thank you. Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts?
It's not hard for me to talk to someone privately that I know, but it is a challenge for me to step out of the comfort zone and talk to someone that's a stranger. Like there was a video that Monique, the comedian, put out there. And I've seen it with my own eyes too, going to the airport and seeing, young ladies in their bonnets and no pants and the whole pajama set with their suitcase. And I'm looking at the woman thinking, should I say something? Is this person okay? Like, what in them mentally gives them they're okay to come outside that way? It's a different generation. I know it would be embarrassing. I would think for our grandparents, for example, or our mothers, or we would embarrass our mothers if we were to go outside that way. But there's so many people there, maybe they're just on their own and there's no accountability. There's no one that they answer to that says, I probably should have actual clothes on in this particular setting. So, in situations where there's danger, there's harm, I would definitely call 911. I would get that person help. But in a situation where the person is like you saw, with possibly their significant other who has them outside, we don't know the situation. I would be in the same way that you were kind of leery, like, do I interject? Is she okay? If I say something, will I be okay? Especially if you were watching with your daughter. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. M3. Queen, what are your thoughts?
I'm always on mandated reporter mode. So sometimes I see stuff I don't want to see. But I don't know if I would have I wouldn't interject, because, then you can become the target and both people can turn on you. But it doesn't take much to dial 911. I'm calling the police all day, every day. And if it ain't nothing, it won't be of nothing. But it is something, at least it's on my conscience that I did something. For example, there was I was going to get my husband. It was like 1:00 in the morning, and I saw this lady running down the street naked. And so I just called the police, and they was like, "Oh, we already got 4 phone calls about her." But I pulled over. I was like, "Why are you pulling over? It's not like you're gonna put her in your car. You don't know if she's on drugs. You don't know what's going on." And I just slowly followed her a little bit, and I said, "Well, she turned down the street." And it was like, "We're on our way. We already got 4 phone calls about it." And one guy was following her on a bike just to make sure that no one else kind of. He was like, I don't feel safe with her running down the street. He's like, "Well, I'm gonna follow her, and I'm gonna keep the police on the phone," because there were carloads of guys pulling over, say, "Hey, baby," So something could have happened to her, but yeah. I called the police and I kept it moving.
Yeah. Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Danielle, what are your thoughts?
Really, I was just like, wow, that's crazy what people be going through, I don't know. I don't know if I would have thought to interject or not. I have a close friend that was in an abusive relationship. And I would only speak to her about it because she was grown and she knew what she was in. And I just made sure that she felt comfortable talking to me about it. I made sure she knew that I wasn't going to be judging her. And I also wanted to make sure that she knew that she always has me to talk to, because abusers like to isolate and like to make you feel ashamed and make you feel alone so then they can do more. And so I just wanted to make sure that she knew that it's your life and your consequence. So I can't stop you, but I'm not judging you. And I don't want you to feel alone. So you never have to feel like you don't have anyone. You can always call me. And so seeing somebody walk down the street, I think I would have to pull to my experience and just say, she's grown and I hope she has someone. Because I don't think it's selfish to think of yourself. first. I think that's smart, especially if you're alone. You have a family. You know, people love you. So it's no reason to put yourself in harm's way for a stranger. You don't, like you said, you don't know what that man could possibly do to you. I mean, look what he's doing to her. You know, so it's crazy. I don't even think I would call the police because that might, you know, cause even more strife in her home. She's obviously not going to leave if she's being subject to something like that and allowing that to happen to herself. You know, so I would just maybe make a prayer for her because that'll be for me, the best thing to do.
Thank you, Danielle. Dom, what are your thoughts?
Hey, so I love this kind of subject because my mom, ever since like Obama got elected, likes to call me, oh, you think you're Michelle, you think you can save the world. I'm a person that definitely, like Kris said and Queen said, and, you know, I think everyone said a little, I'm definitely going to make sure my safety comes first. But there are those instances where I wouldn't think about my safety. For example, if I'm seeing a kid, you know, get snatched, you know, and down the street, and you can obviously tell this is not their parent. Oh, best believe I'm chasing, you know, best believe I'm going to try to do something. I am going to put my life at risk for a child. That's the one difference for me. But as far as like, you know, women getting beat up on the streets, I mean, I grew up in a big city, so I've seen it happen, and I've seen it go ways where the woman is thankful that you've helped her. And I've seen it go in ways where now the woman's like, what you talking to my man for? You know, so it's like, you never really know. And you never really know, you know, they could be play arguing. Like, for example, me and my boyfriend, we play argue all day. But if you've seen us, at some point, you might think that, oh, wait, they're having a real argument, you know? So, you know, they might just be, you know, that's just might be how they talk to each other. As far as seeing the lady walk down the street, I definitely agree with Queen. I definitely would have called the police. I would have stopped. I would have not, of course, got into it because also that lady could be dealing with something mental health. That man could actually be just following her because he knows his wife, you know, is crazy. And maybe this is something that she does, you know, because some really, you know, people are like that. You know, people do deal with mental health and they would do something like walk out in their bra and, you know, underwear and, you know, crying and, you know, listening to, like, that's something that can happen. So yeah, I was just like, try to call the police, try to stay back. But I think when it comes to abusive relationships, a lot of times if you say something to the man, that you're going to put that woman in more danger when she gets home. You can't go home with her. You can't go save her when she's in her, you know, room and he's thrown up against the wall. So I think you need to assess the situation, you know, try to call the cops. But as far as stepping to a man or, you know, anyone about their relationship, sometimes that woman will get her ass beat if you do that, you know? So you sometimes want to mind your business. Like Danielle said, go to your friend, you know? But I don't believe that because a woman staying in a domestic relationship that she, you know, doesn't want to leave. I don't believe that. I think that some women, maybe everyone they've gone to has turned them away. Maybe they're scared to talk to anyone about it. You know, maybe they feel they have nowhere else to go. You know, you have to think about kids that are raised in homes with, you know, moms that are on drugs or fathers that are on drugs and get beat every day. They don't see a lot of possibility or hope no matter how much you tell them. So, yeah, I think that try to save someone as best as you can. Try to do what you can. Stay safe. If it's a kid, I'm putting my life in danger. And that's it.
Thank you, Dom. Want to say shout out to the high value nurse. He is tuned in. Thank you for watching. You know, Dom, I really like your perspective just because there are certain things you said that I didn't really think about. So I like that you brought a different perspective to that. Yeah, I like that you did that. Thank you for that. All righty, Miss Petty Penny, what are your thoughts?
To your first question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you,
when you first told me, I was very disturbed, like tremendously disturbed. You know how I talk. And so for me, just because the type of person I am, I probably would have intervened. Only due to the fact that I just care about people. Not to say that anyone else don't care, but I agree with Dom. You should watch out for your surroundings and make sure that you're safe. But at the end of the day, you're thinking about another human being. So once you do that, like Kris said, once you do that, you have to then realize you are putting yourself in harm's way, and you should and are you prepared for that? So, because you don't, like everyone said, you don't know how the man may have reacted, or what he was thinking, or if he was on drugs, or if he had some type of mental issue. But I would have definitely, I would have definitely, I don't care if he was standing there or not. I think I probably would have questioned him, and tried to make sure if she was okay. And then not only that, probably still followed her and him while I have the authorities online, because it just, someone walking in their panties and bra, yeah, he's treating her like she's some dog.
Interesting. So before I comment, I want to say shout out to Mr. Hall of Fame. He's tuning in. He said, "Ladies' night, let's get it," with three
Let's
exclamation
get it.
points. Three exclamation points. So yeah, I like everybody's thoughts. And it's interesting because when I told my mother, she was like, "Oh, you can call the police," and that's the thing is that I thought about that, but then I'm thinking that, let's say I called the police. It could go one of two ways. And me personally, I have a child to think about. I don't want to think about it going in the negative way. I don't want to think about that. So what if I would have called the police and she would have just denied anything happened or anything like that? The fact that they were walking on a street that's not that far from my house, he might be the kind of guy he's trying, and he sees I'm walking my dog. He might be the kind of guy like, well, let me wait and see another day in which she's walking her dog, so I can confront her about why the police came to my house, why the police was asking me questions. So now not only is my life at risk, but now I put my daughter's life at risk, because for all I know, he might decide, okay, I'm finna watch how she comes out of. So that's it. So I had to think about those things, and as much as I wanted to call 911. It's a hard decision to make, because if you like Don was saying, you call 911 or you say something, the person's thankful, then you have other people that's not so thankful that you called 911, and then that could put them in more danger. It could put them in less. So it's kind of hard to say what is and is not the right choice. But in that instance, like I said, because when I looked back and he looked at me as if to say, mind your own business, I chose to mind my own business. So, I definitely, said a prayer for her. But yeah, that was, yeah. I mean, I could have called the police, but then the other thoughts about the outcomes from that came to my mind. And so that kind of put me like, okay, let me just pause real quick. And, so yeah. Now, if I happen to see it again, which I really, really hope that I don't, but if I happen to, then, I don't know, my mind may or may not change. And I say may not, because I might still feel the same way that, if it's happening again, that's their business. That's things like, I don't know, but I know as far as calling the police, I don't know. I don't know. And, that's things I don't know if that would have been the right choice. I mean, she was an adult. She wasn't a child. I don't know, but yeah. So anywho, thank you, ladies, for your thoughts on that. We're gonna go ahead and get into question number 2. If nobody else has anything else they want to add, we're gonna go ahead and get right into our next question of the ladies' night stream. Question number 2. If I magically do wave my fingers, let's see if it. Oh, look! See, I think I got magic in my fingers. Y'all see that? I got magic in my fingers. Okay, so question number 2 says, ladies, identify and describe the major difference in your opinion between a person intervening to help from harm or danger versus a person in the mix to slander a person's character and gossip. And then, yeah, so I'll go first. So for me, I feel like it's all about intent and knowing the intent of the person, and really, I'm really knowing as much as you can about that person to know whether or not what they're doing is meant for good or meant for harm. Because there's always going to be people that are going to do things, they're going to intervene because they want to be all up in your business and have something to say about you to other people. But then there's also the opposite, where you have it where these people are really trying to intervene because they're trying to help. Because there are some people that, they want to help everybody and they want to do what they can. So, and another says this, no, LOL, that's part of the question, because knowledge relationship is trolling, y'all. As y'all can see, it says they trolling. Always trolling us. I don't even understand why. Miss Hall Fan says troll time. Miss Hall Fan says troll time. Alrighty. So yeah, I do think it is about intent. So the intent of the person that's doing it really determines the difference. And just their actions following that intervention. So what did they do after they intervened? Was it more of it was helpful, or was it where they took it to a whole nother level where they did take it and use it for bad? So you have to look at not only the intent, but also you have to look at what were the actions that they took afterwards, because I think that's definitely something else that can let you know about which one it is. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm going to go to Mrs. M3. What are your thoughts on question number 2?
My thoughts on it, we've explained what we would do if there was harm or danger happening, and even to the extent of if it were a child versus an adult, and the level or extent of harm we would put ourselves in. I think in regards to when it's slander or, gossip, that I hear what you're saying when it comes to intent, right? You can't prove a person's intent. You don't know exactly what they're meaning to do in that regard. But if it's hurtful towards you and they say it's help, then you're saying that kind of help is not help to me. You would expect that they would appreciate where you're coming from. I think if the intent is good, then the action that's hurting someone's character or defaming their character would stop. But if the intent's not good and the action continues, then that's when you know it's trolling. And that person's not after your best interest. So that's my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. Miss Hall of Fame 23 says, if I wasn't talking to you or about you, mind your neck. Those are his thoughts. So you weren't talking about you or to you, mind your neck.
Wow.
Mind your neck. And might I add, he had LOL at the end of that. Just saying. All righty.
Well, I'm gonna put my nose all in it if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. That's all I got.
Go ahead, Luann. I'll be behind you.
Thank you.
All righty, we got Queen. Queen, what are your thoughts about the difference?
I just think, when you realize what the difference is, because if you tell someone, they're asking you and how you're doing or whatever else, and then you find out, oh, they didn't really care, they were just wanted, you confront them and you check them, and then you just move on. I think people just don't, I don't know. I just think there is a difference, but I think people just don't have the balls to check people, and they just let it go and they just remove themselves. If you feel a ways, if you feel like what the help someone is trying to give you is not good for you, just say it. Hey, you know what? That may have worked for you, but that's not going to work for me. Or if you feel a ways, just check it. There's always going to be trolls. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be someone who does something. You got to find out what the reason is, because maybe someone went, because sometimes people go, like if I have a situation where I know something or someone told me something and I don't know how to help them, I may go tell someone else, hey, I may not tell them I'm not going to tell them who it is, but I may say, hey, I really want to help this person, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to do. I may go to someone who's wiser, who may have been through something similar, and get some advice to give it back. So that person can take that as you gossiping and slander, but the intent wasn't to harm them. The intent was to try to get some help from a similar situation. Yeah. I think it's all about what the bigger picture of it, like what's really going on in the heart and the intent behind it.
Thank you, Queen. Before we go on to Danielle, I just want to read these comments Mr. Hall of Fame is putting out there. So he says, "Look, mind your business, people." And then he says, I'm playing, but I'm not playing. I'm playing, but I'm not playing. And don't do that, Luann. Don't do that, Luann. And I'm grown, man. I could do whatever I want. So, he says he's grown. He can do what he wants. And can't nobody tell him.
Can you repeat that, please? Because I actually wasn't by the phone when you was reading that.
Oh, so he said, don't do that, Luann. Don't do that. And then he said, I'm playing, but I'm not playing. And then he said, I'm a grown man. I can do what I want. And MarioMarion, shout out to MarioMarion, says, yeah, that's right.
If you put in your hands,
that's right.
If you're putting your hands on a woman, number one, you a coward. Okay.
Thank you.
That's the first thing. So if I see you putting your hands, especially on a black woman, I'm gonna say something, bruh. Whether I'm wrong or right, you shouldn't be putting your freaking fingers on her. Your phalanges. Keep them to yourself. Thank you.
So this is what I will say. Thank you. So this is what I will say. So here's the thing: is I don't believe a man should put his hands on a woman, but I also think a woman should understand that not every man thinks that way. And there are some men that will, and there are some men that will not. But if you continue to push and to push and to push, he's going to. Because you have some men, I've seen videos of these guys walking away, and this woman is right behind him, yelling at him, hitting on him, all kinds of stuff, to the point where I was like, okay, like, because if he's walking away from the situation, you don't continue to walk behind him and continue to talk to him and say things. You don't do that. So that's the thing, is I feel like there are some women that they have this mentality that, oh, a man will never put his hands on a woman, when the reality is there are some men that won't. There are some men that won't unless you continue to push, and there are some men that doesn't apply to them. They gonna hit you if they feel like it. So,
and there's some women that will hit a man thinking that they won't hit them back.
Right.
And that's not okay either.
And that's the thing, is that I think that it needs to be an understanding that if you have this in your mind that a man's not gonna hit a woman, you're making that assumption that that man is the kind of man that does not hit women, and you don't know that. And that's the thing, is that everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has a breaking point. So he might not hit a woman, but if you hitting on him and doing all kinds of stuff, and he's walking away, and you continue to just beat on him, there's not all men are just gonna sit there and take that. Even the ones that say, oh, I would never hit a woman. Like I said, everybody has a breaking point. So I feel like with that, you can hold the men accountable, but we got to hold these old women accountable that think that, oh, I can hit him, he ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, have that in your mind if you want to. Have that in your mind if you want to. But Ms. Hall of Fame says, yeah, I don't think that sisters keep your hands to yourself. All righty, Miss Danielle. So what do you think about the difference between somebody who's actually trying to help and somebody who's trying to slander you or talk gossip? What are your thoughts about the difference?
My thoughts about the difference is I've had both situations. I've had a friend who I felt was my friend, and when it's your friend and something that's going on, you're going to vent. You're going to tell her about the things that's going on in your life and things. And she was doing the same. But then I noticed that she was also telling me the business of her friends. So then I had to stop telling her my business. But she continued to gossip about her other friends. So then I was getting irritated about it. So I was telling my husband, like, she always just talking about somebody. And I don't really want to hear that, like, and it was bothersome to me. So the next time she came over and she did it, I was like, why are you always talking about people? Like, that's not cool. And she was like, well, they be talking about me. I was like, how do you know that though? Because I don't talk about you. If I'm talking about you, I'm talking about what we were talking about, or I might be talking about your response to something that happened with us, but I'm not talking about your business in a negative way to someone. And I was like, so you just talk about everybody? She was like, yep. And so then I was like, well, then what do you say about me? But she couldn't tell me. She couldn't tell me what she says. And so at that point I had to stop being her friend. So I was like, if you could sit up here and run your mouth about me behind my back and you can't repeat what you said about me, then you're not my friend. Because one thing about me is, if I do say something about you and you hear that I said something about you, you can guarantee that if you came and asked me, I can repeat what I said. Because I'm not ever being malicious about my friends or their business or situations. So it's okay if you're going to talk about me and gossip about me, because you could just be having a conversation and could just be sharing my business, not even in a malice way, just having conversation. I mean, you shouldn't, but it happens. But if you're going to be repeating my business or repeating something that's happening with me and you can't say it to my face what you said, then that is a problem. Because then you putting some spice on it. You got some type of feeling about it that you're not willing to share with me. You might be thinking something about me that I don't know that you think. And if you're my friend, you should be able to share that with me, because you might have some insight that I don't have. You might be able to have me look at my situation a different way. If you're my friend, then whatever you're feeling about what I'm going through, if I'm sharing it with you, you should feel safe enough to say whatever it is that you feel about that situation and me in that situation to me, because that's what friends do. Sometimes you have to hold your friend accountable. Sometimes you have to check your friend. Sometimes you have to be like, girl, you was wrong. That was dumb. Why did you do that? Like, it could have went like this, or it probably was like that. So that was my situation. It was like, I didn't like it. I didn't like that she couldn't tell me what exactly it is that she was saying about me. So that's not cool. That's not a friend. And I don't do frenemies. We're not on a reality TV show that is making us more popular. So you got to go. You are now voted off the island. Yep.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's interesting because they say if that person is talking about other people to you, then they talking about you to other people. So yeah, very interesting, and yeah, very interesting. Thank you for your thoughts and your story. All righty, Dom, what are your thoughts as far as the difference between someone who's truly trying to be helpful and someone who is doing it with, we'll say, malicious intent?
Oh, the difference is one's your friend, one's not your friend. That's one person really cares about you and one person just wants the drama. You could always tell, because let me tell you something. If you're really going through something, and unless this person isn't like your close friend and you're just kind of venting to them, but if this person is your friend just a little bit, enough for you guys to hang out, and they're venting about something, and you're asking these questions and you're like, and what's going on? And you're so involved, but then you don't call them a couple days later, or maybe you're not a caller. When they call you, you don't say, hey, are you okay? Are you still feeling the way about that situation? They probably don't care. Also, a lot of people, they just ask a lot of questions because they don't have either they don't have drama in their life, or whatever drama you're going through or whatever's hurting you is going to make them feel better about their own lives. So they want to hear all the tea. They want to hear all the juice. They want to hear how it happened, when it happened, what day it happened, what time was it, because they want to find all the things that either make them feel better or some drama so they can maybe talk to someone else. I got a friend that went through this. Some people like to have friends that go through things so they can seem like they're somebody, and they're like, yeah, because I got a friend that went through that, when really they just don't have no friends. So yeah, I think that people just, want something in their lives, either that they're missing or they want to feel better about themselves. And that's why they're gonna, bombard you for all your information and all your stuff and what you're going through. And, not giving any advice or not even say like, oh, I maybe went through something similar. Because if you're trying to make someone feel better, you're going to try to relate to them. You're going to try to say something to make them feel like, oh, okay, I'm not just going through this, or, oh, okay, it's not just me, you know, even if it's something little like, dang, you know, I totally understand what you're going through, you know, something like that, even if it's not super close, but something to make them feel like, dang, okay, I'm not the only one. That's how you know when someone cares and someone just wants information.
Very, 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 very true, Damo. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very clear.
Huh?
Very clear.
Yes, definitely very clear. Miss Petty Penny, Luann Love, what do you got to say about the difference? Miss Petty Penny, are you there? Okay,
Yes,
she not.
repeat the question. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I'm trying to find my charger. My phone is gonna die.
Okay, so pretty much the question is saying, you know, what in your opinion is the difference between somebody who's helping you to truly be helpful and then someone who's doing it with malicious intent, as in to like gossip about you, get information, that kind of thing? What's the difference between the two?
The person is talking trash about me, and one person is trying to be nice to me. That's a big difference. It's a big, huge difference. I just, people who want to talk trash about you, you know, yeah, they want to smile in your face all the time, want to take your place, then backstab us, you know. So those type of people you just don't associate with. You just have to kind of be 6 feet, you know. And so once you do that, you'll realize who's for you and who's not. You should kind of learn that after so many tries.
Thank you, Luann. We have some comments that have been coming in, and I'm gonna go ahead and read those comments coming in because Mr. Hall of Fame got a whole lot to say. So he was singing Kelly Price's "She Was a Friend of Mine." Y'all know I can't sing. She lived with my man. I think that's how it goes. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna play. He also says some people think people be talking about them and no one is talking about them at all. Get over yourselves. You're not that important. You know, that's true sometimes, but that ain't true all the time. He says, Danielle, you watch too many scripted reality shows. That is his insight into what you just said, that you watching too many of them shows. And he also says, LOL, Mario, because he says, I hate that term, the tea. Well, you know what? On this ladies' night and some others, we gonna give you the tea. So you know, like the tea, then you gotta get better to go drink yourself some coffee if you don't like the tea. So, and then he says, look, once you cross me and talk about me, you're done, which is good. I can agree with that.
Most people need to be like that because that's why a lot of people going around and getting their business spread and getting hurt and fake friends.
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
yep.
people want to believe them. I'm one of those people, and I know it may be harsh. My mom tells me all the time it's harsh, but I don't care. It saves me from a lot of drama. If you wouldn't have forgave that person the first time, you probably wouldn't be going through half the things you go through in life. So
I think also
protect your mental. Protect your mental.
Also, you have to be aware of who's bringing it to you. I never forget. It was like junior high school. You know, you go into the new school after you went to school with these people from elementary, whatever. And there was a group of us that went to dancing school together. And so one of the girls, some of her friends that she lived around the way with, they were at the school, the new high school that we were going to. So I guess one of the girls befriended me because she was jealous of how close this girl was to me. And she was talking about, and I said, and all I said to her was, well, if you feel that way, why don't you go talk to her? You should talk to her about that if she did that to you. Blah, blah, blah. She went back, told this girl, I said she was this and blah, blah, blah. Come and find out, like a week later, my best friend that I've known for like 10 years wanted to fight me. And another girl was like, that's not, she's like, you know, how do you know what really happened? Why don't you why don't you confront both of them? You know, because you don't, you know, you've known Cornelia or Queen this long, and you've known this person this long. Why don't you confront them? Call it out. Like, don't just take one side over the other, because you don't know whose intention was pure. So when she did it, I told her exactly what I said, and the other girl's like, I said, no, I never said that. You said that, and I told you to talk to her. And so, you know, I think also when you find out stuff, if you care about the friendship, confront it, because you don't know whether the person bringing you the stuff has your best intentions, or is the one who really said the BS and played what's that game called, telephone, with the information. Because you don't know what the person said. The person could have just said, well, you know, she does act like that sometimes, but if she offended you, talk to her. That ain't slandering her. That's speaking the truth, right?
Right.
So I think you also have to weigh that, because not everybody likes to see you be cool with somebody else that they not cool with. So
Thank you, Queen. Thank you for that. So just real quick, in honor of Mr. Hall of Fame, I'm gonna play the little song he said he was singing. Let's see. All righty, had to pause it. That was good. That was good. All righty. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Yes, I'm trying to get the sound effects, y'all. I'm trying to get a little sound effect action going. All righty. So we are done with question number 2. We're going to move right along to question number 3. So let me wave my fingers. See if it pops up in the air. There, yeah, I'm telling you, I got magic in my fingers. Are y'all seeing this? Are y'all seeing this? All righty. It says, what keeps you or motivates you to step in, speak up, and why or why not? So, what keeps you or motivates you to step in, speak up, and why or why not? We're going to go ahead and start with Queen for this one. Queen, what motivates you to step up or speak up?
well, I learned this from my mother. She always says, you know, you never know if you were in a situation, and what if everyone turned a blind eye to you and you would just be out there on your own. She was like, you know, you don't need to know the circumstances, you don't need to know the history, but if you are an ability, if you're capable of helping, you need to help, because you may one day be walking in that person's same shoes, and if everyone turned their back on you, how would that make you feel? So that's why I do what I do.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, it sounded like someone was clapping. Oh, hold on.
That was I had to do a hand clap effect.
Oh, thank you. I thought I heard somebody clapping. I'm like, hold on a second.
That needed to be a quote or something. That was great.
Thank you. All right, Danielle. Danielle, what is your response to question number 3?
I don't typically just jump into anything or speak on just anything. If I'm speaking up for something, it's because I know the person or because I know something about the situation. That's a great quote, Queen, but I have to know, because you could be speaking up for the wrong side. You could be thinking that you're defending somebody that's actually defending themselves from something that happened. So for me, what keeps me stepping in and saying something is because I do know what's going on, and that's not cool. Like, I've been around and people are speaking about a coworker and saying something, and I'm like, hold on, but that's not what happened. That's not true. That's not that person's character. That's not it. And they be like, well, she wouldn't even speak up for you that way. It doesn't matter, because I can speak up for myself. But since she's not here, I'm just letting you know that that's not it. you know? So if I'm speaking up from a place of I know.
Thank you.
And I don't care if you would do it for me, because what you would do has nothing to do with what I would do. I don't ever let someone else's character change my character. My character is the same regardless. Whether I like you or not, if what you're saying is false, my character said I have to speak up about that.
Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. All righty, Dom, it is your turn. What motivates you to step in or speak up?
So I would say, what Queen said, that's definitely how I was raised. It even comes from someone walking past you and you just being like, wow, your hair is beautiful. You never know what that person is going through. That might have brightened their day. You might be helping someone and, you might, like she said, you might be in the same situation. If my kid is out there and someone's kidnapping them, I want someone to chase my kid, But in the same respect, I do understand what Dee is saying, because I also grew up where it's like, if you give someone candy and they don't want to give you their candy tomorrow, you can't be like, oh, I gave you candy yesterday. You gave them candy out of the kindness of your heart, and shouldn't be because you're supposed to get candy back tomorrow. But when it comes to helping some random person, yeah, you might be in the same place one day. So definitely step up. And I'm a person that I care about people. I love people. Luann said that too. If you're a lover of people, you're just gonna go ahead and you're gonna help. Like it's in my blood to help. Like even when I don't want to help. Recently, I was at a thing with my boyfriend at a party, and this guy is like dancing all up on this girl, but she looks very uncomfortable. So did I say something to the guy? No, but I kindly went over to her friends and said, hey, you think you want to go check your friend real quick because she looks uncomfortable? And they were like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was in Oakland to see a young girl get kicked out of a moving car with my mom at 3 a.m, and last summer. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't care. We walking this young girl home. She looks like 15. The girl's crying, rolling on the floor. My mother's like, we're in Oakland. I don't care. We're walking her home. I feel like we can be safe to walk her home. And guess what we did? We went ahead and walked her home. So for me, it just depends. Like, I'm not going to leave a young girl out there, but I'm also not going to, get us both beat up, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what this is my personality. And listen, I'm gonna help if I can. Like I could do it, so why not?
Oh, I was muted. Yes, right, Dom. I agree with you. I was sitting there talking and I was muted. You gotta unmute yourself. Thank you, Dom. All righty. Jessica Hansen is tuning in. Hey, Jessica. Thank you for tuning in to Ladies Night. She says exactly! Exclamation point. No matter how another person behaves or what they say, don't lower your character or standards. Nicely put, nicely put. All righty, Lou and Love, Miss Petty Penny. What motivates you to step in or speak up? What motivates you to step in or speak up?
Human kindness. Just pure human kindness. Sometimes we will put ourselves at risk, but because I believe in a higher power, if I feel compelled to help that person, for some reason, I feel like I'm going to be okay. I know that sounds a little bit off, but if we don't intervene, then that person could either die, get murdered, anything could happen to that person, but just you saying something, maybe just you saying something, you might have just saved a life. So that's how I think, just speaking up, showing that person that someone is watching, someone does have your back, and you don't have to always know the person. So just pure human kindness, like Dom said, I just like people. So again, if I see someone getting hurt or in harm's way, I do feel like it's my duty to, kind of assess the situation and probably either help or get help for that person. Just plain human kindness.
All righty. Thank you, Miss Petty Penny. All righty, Kris, we're coming to you. What motivates you to step in or speak up? Why or why not?
Typically a motivation like that push I need is typically if it's fairly predictable if I know that there's going to be value add if I step in. Like, for example, my friend and I planned a trip to Goodwill, and I was in Goodwill shopping, and I was wondering why she was late. She's never late. I'm always the one who's late. And I was wondering where she was, and she was helping this young lady with her car. Her car died, and my friend just happened to have jumper cables on her. And I go out to help see what's going on, and this young lady was scared out of her mind. Like, she didn't know what to do. She had just moved to the country, and this older man was helping her, and he was explaining to her like what not to do as she's driving home. And I could tell that she was lost. Like, she didn't really know. She was nervous. She was just extremely nervous. And so my friend and I decided to follow her home. So she was in her car, and we drove behind her to make sure she got home okay. She ended up not getting home okay. Her car ended up breaking down again. And we were sitting behind her. And then, long story short, we helped her get home eventually. I had AAA. We called AAA. They towed her car home. She was home safely, and I'm sure her car is fixed now. But in that situation, I knew that, number one, I knew I was safe. I knew I had a friend with me, so that's how I knew I was safe, because this one girl probably can't take me, you know. And I knew that it wouldn't have put anyone in a worse situation if I had just followed her home. Like, worst case scenario, I'd use a couple gallons of gas to drive her home. That was the worst case scenario, really. But there are situations where it's a little bit less predictable. And so in those ones, I typically like to bring somebody else in, like a police officer, someone who's more equipped to handle that type of situation. But typically that's where I'm at. Like, if this goes completely south, what's the worst thing realistically that could happen? You know, if it's like I could die, then I'm probably not going to intervene at all. But if it's like, oh, I waste, you know, a few hours helping some young lady get home, then I'll go ahead and intervene, because I know it's something that I can do. Everyone's going to be safe at the end of the day, and I'm going to feel a lot better knowing that she was home versus just going about my day. And so I think the motivating factor for me is just knowing that it's going to work out for the best for all the parties involved. If I don't know that, then I typically have to seek help, and I'm a little bit more hesitant to step in.
Thank you, Kris. Very interesting. I like a lot of different things that you said. Yeah, I like a lot of different things. I'm going to speak on some things in a minute, but I want to give Mrs. M3 a chance to answer the question. So what motivates you to step in or speak up? Why or why not?
I do agree with Luann. It's human compassion. Just wanting the best for someone is the reason that I would step in. Here's the thing, though. You remember that portion on Endgame where Dr. Strange is looking up all kinds of solutions and possible scenarios, and he's like, there's just one? I am not ride or die unless I can think of other ways that we can possibly live. Like, let's go for this, but here's 100 different ways that this scenario can go that keeps us both safe. That's who I am. I'm a very data-driven person. So give me the information, give me the facts, and then let's handle it. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. If I can help you, I'm going to help you. If I can't, then I'm going to try to find you someone that can. But in that regard, help being help, not slander or gossip. So it's human kindness. You want the best for someone. And that's the only reason that I would intervene for anybody. And if my life is in danger, definitely let's find solutions so that we can both stay.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. M3. Okay, so in answer to the question, so for me, I would say it's situational. And there's a few different things, because there's different situations that you can step into and speak up about. So for me, for instance, if it's just something that I know is just not okay, I may speak up on it, but then it depends on the situation. It depends on the people involved, where I'll choose to step in. You know, sometimes it's best not to. Sometimes it's best to keep your mouth shut. But in other cases it is. I mean, I'm a teacher, so when it comes to students, I'm going to speak up for them. You know, even when I'm having a conversation with parents, and some parents feel, you know, that their kids need A, B, and C, and I may speak up and say, well, I think maybe we should try this, because I had a parent of a child that I used to work with. She's the little girl, when I started becoming doing more sign language. Little girl's deaf, and she has cerebral palsy, and I hadn't been her aide for some years, and her mother contacted me on Facebook, and she was saying, well, I don't want her to go to this other school because they don't know her, and they're gonna, she's not really gonna do well. And so she was asking me for my opinion, and I mean, I could have chosen to say, well, that's your daughter, what's best. But I told her, I said, she's going to be in a different environment, and you're not giving her a chance to show what she can do. You're already putting it in your mind that she can't do A, B, and C. I said, so before you do that, give her a chance to show you what she can do. Give it people at the school a chance to show you what they can do, because she might actually do well. So in that case, because I felt like it was in the best interest, because she was asking for my opinion, to give my opinion and step in. But I also think that you do have to look at like the worst case scenario, like Kris was saying, like, what is the worst thing that can happen? And for me, because I'm a mom, I always think about my daughter first. And so if it's putting me in danger, then it's putting her in danger. So I have to look at things as, is this safe for me? Because if it's safe for me, then it possibly will safe for, just because something's safe for me doesn't mean it is safe for her. But if it's not very safe for me, it's definitely not safe for her. So I always keep her in the front of my mind when I make certain decisions. And that includes helping people. I mean, it could be something as simple as we see somebody with one of those signs, asking for money, about stepping in to help them. Do you want to give them money? Do you not? And so, I mean, and even in that case, I've given money, and I've had people say, why did you give them $5? I mean, I don't really know what they're going to do with it, but it's not my business to know what they're going to do with it. The intent I gave it to them was to help them. Whether they use it to help themselves with some food or some alcohol, that's not my business. But I do think it is situational. And I also think, I like what you said, Danielle, when you were saying it's about actually knowing the facts rather than the assumptions of what the facts are. Because, if you know everything about it, then it's a lot easier for you to make a logical decision on what the right step is. So there's all kinds of different reasons why I would step in or wouldn't. I do think human kindness is a good reason, but I also think with that human kindness, you have to know that some people will take your kindness for weakness. So you have to be very mindful of that human kindness aspect, because it can be taken advantage of, even though your intent is good. And that's why it's hard to know what the outcome will be. So doing it because it seems like the right thing to do is good, but then you also have to be smart about it. So even though it might, even though it's great to be a lover of people, it is also important to be logical about, you may be a lover of people, but is this the right thing to do? So, I mean, I definitely don't think putting yourself in danger to help somebody else is necessarily the right thing. When it comes to kids, that's a little bit different, because kids can't help themselves. But with grown adults, putting yourself in danger isn't always the right decision. So, and then that's things you don't know if you put yourself in that situation, if it's gonna be okay with the person that you're putting yourself in that situation for. Because as we've already said, some people will be grateful for the help and other people won't be. And it might surprise you that they're not grateful for that help. So it's all about just being mindful. So anyway,
say something to that.
On that. What were you gonna say, Dom?
I just want to say real quick, when it comes to what you just said, it makes me think of when they say people who are heroes, right? Heroes are people that they don't think about, am I gonna be safe? Am I gonna be saved? They just think like, hey, I can help this person. And sometimes, I'm gonna put my life at risk, because if I can help, that's kind of what you do. Like, for example, the care workers or the nurses and things like that. When you're working in these hospitals, you are technically putting yourself in danger to help someone else. And some of them are not doing it for the check, because in these, low budget hospitals, the nurses are not really making that much. They're still going home with debt and bills and all these things. So sometimes that's what they say, the unsung heroes. That's what a hero is. Sometimes you have to think, you know what, I don't care what this is going to do to me. I don't care if I catch COVID and maybe, you know, end up dead like the rest of my patients. I'm going to go and help them because that's what I do. That's what the person that I am. So I think it also depends. Like there are heroes and there are people that are like, hey, if I can help, I'll help. You know, I definitely will try.
Thank you, Dom.
And
Thank you very much.
I was gonna say that I don't just run out and try to save the world. That's not what I was saying when I said what I said. What I said is, like I said, if I don't know you and you down the street and I see you walking around butt naked and you look high and there's some dudes that's trying to take advantage of you, I'm calling the cops. I'm not gonna go over there. But like for instance, I knew someone at work who was being harassed by a manager, and I witnessed it. So I didn't wait for her to ask me to step in. I emailed HR and I got involved because I didn't when I needed that person, she did the same for me. So, and whether she did the same for me or not, nobody should be abused. So when I saw it, I sent an email and I said, hey, this situation made me uncomfortable. I witnessed this. And then I went on to say what happened. That was it. They kept me private, but you know, like I said, my mother worked in the hospital. I was at that hospital. People thought I worked in the hospital. That's how much I was up there. But you know, that's what she did, and that's who she was. And let me help you out. If my mother broke a nail, she had so many people in the community that would do anything for it because of who she was. And they knew this. Strangers, distant people, people that we knew closely, family members of other people. So many people would do anything for my mother just because of her heart for the community. And everybody knew her. Everybody knew her. So that's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Captain Save-A-Hole, but
Yeah.
I do have, but I do have, you know, if I see it and I can do something about it, I'm gonna do something about it. That's it.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you very much. So we got some comments coming in from some people that's tuning in. So we're gonna read these comments. So we have Jessica. Oh, and we have Cheryl Smith. So I'm gonna read Cheryl Smith's comment first. So she says, yeah, if there's a pattern in it, and if you know they're recovering, it can be important not to step in. I'm thinking saying, if you know that recovering it can be important not to step in. So Cheryl Smith, thank you for tuning in. I wonder if you could reword that so I can know exactly what you were trying to say, and I will definitely read it again if you can reword that. Oh, there we go. She says, men, a pattern of using help unwisely. Okay, so I definitely agree with that. If it is somebody who has a pattern of using help unwisely, then it's a matter of, okay, you know, I didn't help you. And that's the thing that I do. That's where people take your kindness for weakness kind of thing. Because what happens is, especially like some people that have kids, some people will help them and they say, oh, you know, I'm doing it for the kids. And then the people that they say, oh, I know this person's going to help me because they're helping me for the kids. And they will take advantage of that. And even the friends that we have sometimes, they will take advantage of the fact that we're willing to help and willing to be there. And when it comes to us, it's, you know, it's a matter of, it's not reciprocated. But then it goes to, if you help somebody, you help them not because there's something that you can get from it. You just help them because it's the right thing to do. So Jessica says, I also always speak up for human rights. Agree, Mrs. M3, hashtag human kindness, but don't risk your own life. I definitely have naively driven people to a location before when I was younger and later felt bad. So yes. And then Love Hater says, hey, Tammy, see you beautiful. Hey. She says, it's Chandra. What's going on, Chandra? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. And then Jessica says, I grew up hearing you never know when you may be entertaining angels or God, though. From a fellow teacher perspective, I get that about helping as much as possible. Yes. So that's the thing, is that you never know if you help in one of God's angels or God, you never know. So, you know, it's always good to do, and that's why I say it's always good to do something without an expectation behind it. Do it because you feel like it's the right thing to do. So, and then Jessica also says some college and even parents can take advantage, manipulate Hashtag situational, like she is saying now. I usually donate food now for those on the side of the road. Yes, and she says always have direct deposit, so no change or cash. Interesting. I like that. I like that.
I think
Miss Oliphant says you can be kind and compassionate, just not foolish and gullible. Yes, Mrs. M3.
when we were reading Cheryl Smith's comments, I think I read it the way that Jessica just said it, like to not enable a person who just keeps coming back for help, but it's not really helping them because they're not, taking initiative because they have your help.
Yes, and that's the thing is that, that's what you can pay attention to is if you're continuing to help them with the same thing over and over again, like it's time to put your big girl panties on and have a conversation like, look, when you going to get your stuff together? Because I done helped you a couple too many times and you still ain't doing what you're supposed to. So, and that's the thing is that some people get so dependent on that they don't do what they need to because they don't have to. So, Tracy Parnell is tuning in. Thank you, Tracy, for tuning in. Tracy says, look, I was taught mind your business. My name is Emmett and I ain't getting in it. In a perfect world, yeah, we all would love to help any and everyone. However, realistically, that isn't how the world is.
But that is how the world is. That's why these cops are being exposed because 5 people are videotaping it, whereas if you were Emmett and you ain't in it, you would drive by and that young man would have been killed. That young man or that young woman would have been abused. So it's not the world we live in. Everything's viral now. So people are standing up and standing on the sideline, videotaping, getting involved, checking the cops and saying, are these your kids? No, but I have a son. So yes, they are my kids. So I think, the world we live in, we realize that we have to get back to the community mindset, because if we don't, could you imagine what would have happened to a lot of these situations? So.
Yes, I can definitely agree with you, Queen. And it's interesting because Jessica says big girl panties. Yes. It's interesting because the sad thing that you have to think is that with all the things that get exposed with, things going viral, there's so many things before that didn't get exposed. And it's just sad to think about all the things that didn't get exposed that should have been exposed. But Tracy says, I feel like common sense would step in if it were a situation where you must intervene. You see domestic abuse, step in. You see a person shadow boxing in the middle of the street, stay your ass in your car and help from a distance. Shout out to Miss Ann. Hashtag this girl talks a lot. This girl talks a lot. Shout out to Miss Luann. Hey, girl. Hey. All right. So for those that are tuning in, if you have not tuned in before, please make sure you hit the thumbs up and like. Feel free to share and subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships so you can always know when we got some good, juicy tea for you. For those that they don't like the term the tea, when we got the tea for you. So anyway, we're going to move on to question number 4. Let me get my fingers going. Question number 4. Let me see if my fingers can bring it out. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I got magic in my fingertips. Okay, so question number 4 says, sometimes a woman doesn't know how to leave an abusive relationship. What would be your advice for helping someone in that type of relationship? So we're going to start with Danielle, and then we're going to take it around the circle. All righty, Danielle. So what advice would you give?
So, like I said for my friend, I just make sure that she knows that I'm always there for her when she's ready, that she's not alone, that I'm not going to be judging her. I just make sure that she is never feeling isolated. I don't want to add to the power that the abuser has. If you're a stranger, I would just let her know that it's not her fault, that she doesn't deserve it, that she is worth more. I would give her resources. But I would not plan anything for her because she has to be ready and it has to be her plan She has to be in control. So I will also be there for her, but I will just make sure that she knew where to go if she wanted to do something, and that she could make a plan, and that I would back her up in that plan. If she came to the hospital, we have to have that partner step out when we ask the questions and screen you, to see if you feel safe, to see if something is wrong. I would have to find a clever way to get her those resources, a pamphlet, anything like that. Maybe set up an appointment for her to say, oh, well, something came up kind of funky in her checkup and she needs to come back in a couple of days, you know? I would have to be creative in ways to make sure that she knew that she had someone also.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Danielle. Alrighty, Queen, what would your advice be for someone who is in an abusive relationship?
I think, you want to keep it as simple as possible, because at the end of the day, if it's your decision for them, it's not going to last. So, like Danielle said, just letting them know, hey, I'm here if you need me. I definitely have slipped a lot of numbers and cards in paperwork, and like grab that back card and put it in your pocket, slipped it in the purse, or hug them and put it in their coat pocket. So I've become very creative, but yeah, I would just let them know and just give them resources, and and just say a prayer for them, because honestly, they have to be fed up in order for it to last. So
Thank you, Queen. And in honor of what you just said, and Mr. Hall of Fame, I got another song for y'all. Alrighty, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, we got a DJ now. We got the music notes going now. Alrighty, okay. We are gonna get to Miss Petty Penny. What advice would you give someone who is in an abusive relationship? What advice would you give?
Before I say my answer to that, I just want to say I actually like the other version by the other artist a little bit better. Sorry. I just like him better.
I think that's what version are you talking about?
I'm talking about the R. Kelly version.
That is the R. Kelly version.
Oh, that was?
Yes, girl.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear it good enough. I thought that was the old people version. Sorry.
Well, that was it. That was it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, good.
Go ahead.
You mean the originator?
I think that when you're talking to someone who is in an abusive relationship, they already know it. That's number one. They know that they are in an abusive relationship. I don't think that they need to be told what they need to do, because they already have internalized what they need to do. I think our job is to be there, always encourage them to know that they're still worthy, that somebody do love them, that someone still going to be here for them once they are ready, like Danielle and so many of you guys already said, once we just put all that together, and we don't really have to say much. Now, the only time that I would intervene if my friend just couldn't is if I actually saw her partner again beating her. I just couldn't watch it. I just couldn't do that. I don't care if I had to take a few blows. Unfortunately, that's something that I have already put myself in the midst of. So I would just encourage her to just know, that I would be here for her or him, vice versa. But to encourage them to leave, they always hear that. They always hear, oh, you should leave the person. or you should, do something this, do this, So I think it would be a little easier for us to not be that stressful, be an outlet, let them come around you, talk on the phone if they want to talk, make yourself more available, because some of these women and men are, they're on the verge of like just wanting to end, just wanting to end it all. So you also have to put that in perspective as well. So whatever you're saying to them is more of a trigger. It's more of a saying, "Oh, am I a failure because I hear all this over and over and over again? So can I hear something different? Give me a different solution." Just women stay because of kids. Women stay because they don't think that they'll be able to get another job or another place to stay, or they can't make it on their own. So they have to rely on him. So it's a whole lot of things that a woman has to do that's in an abusive relationship. There's a whole lot she has to do. I have family members and friends who are who were and are still in abusive relationships. And so the advice that I would give them would be to stay strong, to know that you are loved, and then continue to pray and make a plan. Make a plan of how you're going to escape.
Thank you, Miss Petty Penny, for your beautiful thoughts. Thank you very much. So we have a bunch of different comments coming in. Mr. Hall of Fame says you can give advice and be supportive, but don't put yourself in harm's way if they have an abusive partner. Yes. And then Jessica says that she was in an abusive relationship. So, Jessica, thank you for even being vulnerable enough to tell us that, because you don't necessarily have to. So, thank you for that. MarioMarion says, hey, Luann, you don't know what you're talking about. I think that's having to do with the R. Kelly song. And yes, by the way, so I don't have the rights to that music. Just stating that, because on Facebook you don't put I don't have the rights to the music. So yeah, I'm just saying we don't have the rights to that. I'm just playing it from my phone. But Hall of Fame says, sorry to hear that, Jessica. I'm more than glad that you got out of that relationship. Yes, I think we're all very, very glad. She says, didn't mean to hit send yet until they feel confident to leave. Sometimes all that you can do as a friend is listen and provide support. And of course, abuse can be emotional, financial, not just physical. That's absolutely, absolutely true. She says, therapy and self-love, heart plus breaking generational abusive trauma. Yes, yes, yes. And Tracy says, some people stay because they have children where they're abuser. Absolutely. Definitely. Sometimes that's the only reason why they stay, is because of the kids. And Miss Hall of Fame says, it's okay, Jessica. Thank you for your courage and vulnerability. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All righty. And then Miss Hall of Fame says, nah, get her, M3. So yeah, so they over here trolling somebody. So my sister's keeper says, congratulations for getting the courage to leave. And I think she's referring to Miss Jessica. Yes, Jessica. So we are so glad that you gave that information. Thank you so much, because you definitely didn't have to. So we definitely appreciate that from you. Tracy Parnell says, it's emotionally, physically, mentally, verbally abuse. Abuse hurts in many ways, and it can be very difficult to come back from that, no matter how much love and support from friends and family. That is absolutely true. Thank you for that, Tracy. Thank you. All righty, we're going to go to Dom. What advice would you give a friend or maybe even a family member who was in an abusive relationship?
So I agree 100% with what Luann said, because it actually was going to be sort of my answer. But first, with Queen and Dee said, I'm one of those people. I'm gonna find a way. I watch Criminal Minds and Law and Order and Lifetime and all that stuff. So I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna give you a wink. I'm gonna give you a blink.
Yes.
I'll figure out a way to ask you if you're okay. And I've seen girls, living in San Francisco, outside on the street, crying, late at night when I'm coming from partying, and I'm just like walking home all by myself.
Girl, how to get away with murder?
How to Get Away
How
with
to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, listen, that's like
Wow.
right. So I feel like I'm gonna definitely figure out a way to help somebody out and try to, but also in the same respect, when it comes to telling someone what to do when they're in a domestic relationship, I can't do that. I can't tell you what to do because it's not a general answer. Like everyone said, some people are in it because of kids. Some people, they're like, I'm always talk about mental health because it's something that I love and I deal with, Some people, they will never be able to leave. There's a real thing called Stockholm Syndrome. There's a real thing called, anxiety and depression. And some people don't feel like they're being abused. Some people feel like they actually did something wrong to make this happen. So they might not even realize that they're in an abusive relationship. They might have seen this with their family. They might have seen this with their parents. So it's really not an answer to give. It's just, once again, showing that support, letting them know if they need to talk to you, you are there. And like Luann said, it's like beating down a dead horse. If someone already feels like it's their fault they're getting abused, and you go and tell them, well, why don't you just leave? And they've already heard that, guess what? They even feel even more like it's their fault. They feel even more like they're doing something wrong. They feel even more like there's something in them is why they should be in this relationship. So I think telling someone like, oh, leave or do this or do that, like you got to kind of worry about what state they're in, because some people do need to hear that and it helps. And some people saying that, it's going to make it worse. It's going to make them really feel like this is what I deserve. This is what's supposed to be happening to me. So I think it depends. You got to know the person. You got to watch your words. You got to watch what you say. I'm a person that I believe I say what I want, how I feel, but I definitely care about people. And I definitely think about that first. Sometimes, like this situation, I would think about that first before I just spoke my mind.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you for that. All righty, Kris, what would you say to someone who is in an abusive relationship?
Well, if they told me that they were, I would ask them what they need. That would be the first thing. And if they say nothing, I'll respect that they don't need anything from me at the moment. And then I go home and do my research. So if they did give me like the green light to help them, I'd know what to do. But I think that's probably the first step, is just asking if they even want your advice in the first place. Especially coming like as a friend, not as somebody who is different. If they come to me as someone who's a professional in the field, whether it be a social worker, a police officer, a doctor, anything like that. If they're coming to me as a friend, I think I would try and just be a friend first and just see what they need, see what their needs are. And then based on that, I would see how I can get involved that, again, will keep me safe. I've never had to deal with the situation. And so that's why it's really hard. I think we touched on this a little bit before. And so I honestly don't know. I feel like this is one of those things where it could be extremely bad physically for the person, where you're concerned about their life, or it can be so they could be able to, I don't want to say it's more minor, but it's easier to hide. And so you don't even know the severity of the issue. And so I think the first thing I would do is just try and figure out what's going on, as a friend, just try to understand the situation, just to see, if I can be there for them, just so I'm transparent with them and how I can help as a friend, or how I can't help as a friend.
Thank you, Kris. Thank you very much. All righty, Mrs. M3, what are your thoughts? What would you say?
First of all, I think Jessica H should be on our panel because she hit the nail on the head, and especially the fact that abuse is not always physical.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different things that happen, and isolation and exclusion is another type of abuse. Keeping someone away from their family members, or making it so that they can't reach out to get help. For my own situation, looking out to my friends or family members that are going through situations like that, I just know to be their peace. And we talked about that last week on our live, just how it takes us having peace to be able to be someone's peace.
Mm-hmm.
If they're reaching out, sometimes you don't need to offer solutions. They have every solution in their mind. They just need somebody to vent to. And they may even feel embarrassed to call because they think that it's going to be a burden on you if, you know, they call, but they know that they can call you and they can talk to you and vent to you. There are, if you have Samsung, if you have iPhone, there's a lock feature where you can text silently. It's just you and that person. It's encrypted even through your server. The company itself can't see your message. Have those kinds of things available and use them, and just spend time. You know, people that are going through abuse have a hard time, but they can be resourceful. And I like what Danielle said is, you know, give them information, give them those resources. You know, Cornelia, Mrs. Queen said, you know, slip that phone number in their pocket when you're giving them a hug. Like, those are things. And I think Facebook has this little, if they have a black dot in their hand and they're like, they're just walking past you and they're, or they're doing a sign language help, the H, those are signs like someone's actually reaching out for help. They really need you to understand what those things, what those symbols, those signs mean, so that you can be the person that helps if you notice them. A lot of people that are in abusive situations know that they're in situations. Just like with mental health, though, 2/3 of individuals don't get help because of the stigma that's attached to, oh, you know, they don't want to be labeled a victim, or the gaslighting, like Jessica was saying, like they feel like their situation isn't that bad. There's other people that need more help than me, so I'm not going to ask for help because my situation's not that bad. I can handle it. There's so many reasons why people don't get help, but if you are a friend to someone who has been abused or is being abused, you definitely want to be able to let them know that they can confide in you, and your business that you're sharing in confidence in private, it's not going to be everyone's business later. So yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. Real quick, before I give my response, I just want to read the comments that have been coming through from a few different people. So Jessica's, they're all popping. Okay, so the old famous said, okay, oh, there we go. Okay, so we got the comment. Okay, there we go. Thank you. So this old famous said, those are TV shows, Queen Dom. LOL. You know what? I'm sorry. They might be TV shows, but there is some truth. There's some truth in those. So so real quick, Dom, before you answer, he says, TV shows not reality, ladies. Y'all gonna come up missing. Wait, okay, what you want to say now?
First of all, if you know anything about artists and writers and poets and authors and all those people, a lot of them base things off of real life situations. If you ever watch Law and Order, Mr. Hall of Fame, you would know that a lot of it in the beginning says based off of a true story. Now, can I escape every kidnapper or help every woman?
Right.
No, but I think that those shows have helped me see different things that come up in life. Okay? Stop trolling and be nice. That's that.
Especially Lifetime. Don't play with a Lifetime movie, okay?
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Luann. And Tracy Purnell said thank you, Dom, as well. And Jessica says yes or don't realize because continually being gaslighted. Yes, I definitely agree with that. Okay, so real quickly, I want to give my feedback. So as far as that question, so I liked a lot of things that everybody was saying. You know, for the people that said about resources, I definitely think letting them know that they have resources. MarioMarion says based off a true story from people with schizophrenia. Anyway, you know, we just don't not you know, I swear, you know, people, I swear, you know. So yeah, I definitely think making sure that they know about resources, I think is a really, really good thing. I liked what Kris, I like what you said as far as the green light. Yeah, you want to make sure that you have the green light to help them rather than just offering your help. I'll get to that in a minute. Don't even trip. I got you. You know, we got DJ stuff going on over here. So yeah, I definitely think you want to have the green light to help the person rather than just saying, oh, this is my friend, let me go ahead and help. You know, make sure that the person is going to be receptive to that because like we've already said, they have to be ready to go. if they're not ready to go, they're not going to give you the green light. And whatever you're trying to do is not going to work out as well as you would like it to. I was just writing notes. Let me look at my notes. Another thing I would say is don't, because they are, like we said, they already know. I don't think it makes sense to ask, well, why don't you just leave? Because I feel like they have a reason why they're not leaving, and they don't want to talk about why they don't just leave. I think a lot of times when we're not in a situation, it's harder to understand something when you're not in it. So you may have, where you say, oh, well, if it was me, I wouldn't do this and do that. And that's things that we don't know what we would do until we're in that situation. We don't know. DD Unlimited is tuning in. It says, no advice. My support would be contact me when you decide to leave. Thank you, DD. Thank you for tuning in. So one of the things I have with some friends of mine is, is like code words. So I've come up with code words with some friends I have, and it's something that is just really strange that if you hear it, you immediately know that something is wrong. So it could be me asking about some random person that I never talk about, or some random that I don't even like. Me asking like, oh, how's so-and-so doing? Because that's going to perk you up like, why would you be asking about that? Like, you don't even like that person. So it's just something that sends a signal like, okay, something's going on. So even my daughter and I have a code word. She has a code word. If somebody comes to pick her up, they got to have the code word. And it could be, and it's a code word
My
that
family
is
had that too.
not something that you hear. It's something just real random. And that way, if somebody's like, oh, your mom told me to come pick you up, it's a matter of, okay, well, if they ain't got the code word, then they just know. And I go over it with her, so that to see if she remembers. And it could be months later, and I'll ask her just, out the blue, what's the code word? And she's able to tell me. But
To this day, Lady Tammy, to this day, if you ask my family, my nieces, myself, our family code word, we still know.
Yeah.
And that was from like elementary school.
Yeah.
My mom put that in our head. Nobody picks you up without that code word. And it was something that everybody else would probably consider super ridiculous, but we knew.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that you want it to be some random word that may not make sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to the person that you gave the code word to. But one of the things I think is most important is be the kind of person that somebody feels like they could come to you to vent. Because if you're the kind of person that's always, talking about people, always just so negative, as much as you might tell a person, oh, if you need anything, you can come talk to me. If they know that you're not that kind of person, they're not going to want to come talk to you. If they know you negative, that you always talking about people, that you say one thing and do another, if they know you're that kind of person, they're going to be hesitant to even come to you, because they're going to think, okay, well, if I say something, they're going to be talking about what I said to all these different people. So be the kind of person that somebody would want to come to, even if it is just a vent. And that's the thing, is that, like, Miss M3 says, sometimes people are not coming for a solution. Sometimes they're coming just because they want to vent. They just want to let that stuff out. So just be there for them to hear. There was a guy that I was dating at one point, and he said to me, he said, you better be glad I went through anger management, because I would have thrown you over the balcony. Like, he said those exact words to me. Of course, we didn't stay together. We was thinking like, hold on, I was like, what? But yeah, he said those exact words to me. It was like, you lucky I went through anger management, because I would have thrown you off the balcony. And then, there was another incident with somebody who, I'm not going to name names, but he gave me signs that he could go that way. And he sent me some flowers to apologize. But for me, in my mind, I just thought about how when Tina Turner got beat by her husband, he gave her a gift to apologize. And then the response was like, oh, I'm never going to do that again. And I feel like for you to just say that, you're making an assumption that there's nothing that's going to take you there. Even though what took you there this time was real small, you don't know what could take you there again. So, it's about being aware yourself. And like I said, being the kind of person that people would want to talk to, being that kind of person, because if you're not, that person is not going to want to come to you and talk to you about anything. They're not going to want to vent. They're not going to give you the green light. They're not going to do any of that kind of stuff. So anyway, other than that, that's all I got to say about that. I think it was "It's My Birthday." I don't know what song was requested. If that's what we do, when we're requesting songs now on the stream, which I don't mind. You can have a little beat to it, you know. If we want to play a little song, I don't mind. But yeah, that's it for that question number 4. I loved everybody's responses. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get to question number 5. I'm gonna do my little finger waving so we can bring up question number 5. Question number 5. I gotta work a little harder because question number 5 ain't popping up.
Put some hand
Come on now.
sanitizers on your hands
Come
first.
on, question number 5. Where's it at? Oh, hold on. There, see, I'm telling y'all. I have magic in my fingers. Y'all not hearing me. It's beautiful. Okay, so this one is a good one. It says, do you agree with the statement that what happens in this house stays in this house? Why or why not? And Mr. Hollingsworth says, yeah, let's go, Tammy. He said, let's go, Tammy. MarioMarion says, yeah, you should not. You should have ripped his. I heard that, yes. I should have ripped his and threw that over the balcony. I heard that, yes. I can definitely agree with that. Yes, absolutely. But you know, I had to step away from that. And I'm glad I stepped away from that situation before it went there. I'm glad that I stepped away before it even got there. So, but yeah, so the statement, what stays in this house, what happens in this house, stays in this house. Do you agree with that? Why or why not? So we're going to start with Dom on this one. Dom, do you agree with that statement? What happens in this house stays in this house. Why or why not?
I'm a little like on the fence with this one, only because like my grandma, like I did grow up like what happens in this house stays in this house. And with her, you know, that was a good thing, you know, but because you don't want everyone to know your business, you don't know how people are going to take it. It taught me to not share a lot of my business. It taught me to, you know, even though I talk a lot and I say a lot of things, it's really personal things that you guys will never hear from me, you know? So I think that it taught me to have boundaries when it comes to myself. But on the other hand, with some kids or with some, you know, growing up, it could hinder you. It could teach you, depending on what's happening in the household that you're not speaking about, it could teach you to not stick up for yourself or to care for yourself, or it can teach you to be quiet even at school, so I think also with like parents need to understand that. Listen, sometimes what you say to your kid in the house can deter them from, standing up for themselves, you know, outside of your house. So I think it's a little bit on the fence thing. I think that with certain things, yeah, what happens in this house stays in this house. But really, if you're doing the right thing, you know, it's not a lot of things that you're going to need to keep a secret. But I just feel like it depends. It's situational. With sometimes that can help and sometimes that can't. It's like when you raise kids. If you have more than one kid may need to be told to share. And another kid may need to learn that on their own. You know, they may need to be shown what happens when someone doesn't share with you. So I think it depends. I'm on the fence with that one.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you very much. All righty, Lou and Love. What do you think? The phrase, what happens in this house stays in that house. Do you agree with that? Why or why not?
Hell no. Hell to the no. Okay. Frankly, I think the saying is very disturbing. Because it's like now whatever is happening in this house stays in this house. You can be beating the shit out of my mom or dad. You could be beating the shit up out of me. I can be, you know, the kid can be, or whoever it is, could be getting either raped or molested. A lot can be going on in the house that needs to be told. Okay. Now, I think I'm a little bothered. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to go deeper into it because it just it hits home for me a little bit too hard at this moment. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, thank you, Miss Petty Penny. All righty, Danielle, what do you got to say? What do you think about that phrase? What happens in this house stays in this house?
I totally disagree. Like Dom said, if you're doing the right things, then it shouldn't matter what's being said about your home. Nothing was really happening in my home, but my mother didn't even like me speaking about like, okay, so when I became a senior, she told me I had become Muslim like the year before. So at like 16. So then that was like junior year. So then like senior year, prom came and I was working. So I had my aunt made dresses. We had went and bought the pattern. We was about to buy the material. I had already had someone ask me to go. And then my mom came in and was like, well, if you go to prom, then you need to find somewhere else to stay. So my aunts, like we had just become Muslim. So to me, it wasn't that I knew that she wouldn't approve of me going. That was something I had been, how people dream about their wedding day. I never dreamt about a wedding day. I was dreaming about prom. So when she told me, I'm obedient. So even though it crushed me, I just said, okay. Then my aunts asked, like, hey, so what we doing for your prom? And it was like, oh, well, I'm not going to prom. My mom told me if I go, then I need to find somewhere to stay. I was honest. That's what you said. So then I have 6 aunts. I am the only niece, okay? And half of them don't have kids. So they took it personal. They knew how important that time was. They called my mom over. I mean, I can understand her feeling attacked, rightfully so, because it was a lot of people asking her questions about her child, but still, they were asking the questions that I didn't feel strong enough to ask because I was her child. So I didn't mind them asking because I really wanted answers too. I just didn't feel strong enough to confront my mother that way. But they did. And so they asked. And she caved and was like, well, if you want to go, then you can go. And, and she was mad about it. But for me, I was happy because at that moment, I did need someone to have my back. I did need strength that I didn't have. I did need someone to speak up for me. And she didn't like it. And she did say, like, you always don't want to tell my business. And I was just like, but that wasn't your business. Like, they asked about me. I mean, your name came up because you're my mom and you make the rules. But the situation they asked about really wasn't about you. You was just in it because you said something about it, So even with my kids now, I've never told them what happens in this house, stay in this house. I could do something to them that I don't think is a lot, but they can feel crushed by it, And so if they go to someone and say something, then by all means, tell me what my child said so that I can address it, because you don't always know, I'm not my child. I don't have my child's feelings. I don't know how they take everything. And so if I've done something and you felt the way and you want to go tell somebody and that person could bring it back to me, I'm always willing to correct myself. I'm always willing to reflect. I'm always willing to let my child know that I am not perfect. I don't know it all. And I'm sorry. I do apologize to my children and let them know if I'm wrong. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you. Kris, what are your thoughts? The phrase, what happens in this house stays in this house. You agree? Why or why not?
I think it depends. Like if it's amongst like the adults in the house, like when I hear this, I think of, don't tell people that you're having money problems necessarily. Don't there are certain things that you should keep between the adults of the house. Like you don't have to tell your friends everything. I see it more so that way. Like you don't have to go and tell your girlfriends everything that's going wrong in your household or everything that's going right in your household. Growing up, my parents always told me, don't tell your friends what you got for Christmas because they maybe didn't get anything, but they never told me to not reach out for help. It was typically stuff like that, like material things or, but my parents never said this to me. They probably said it amongst each other. But for me as a child, I don't think it would have been appropriate for them to tell me like whatever happens in this house stays in this house. Because as a child, I don't think I'd be able to comprehend that. And I'd be scared to talk to anyone. And so I think amongst children, you probably shouldn't say that. You can teach them certain morals, like don't brag, understanding that other people may not have certain things or, whatever it may be. But as far as trying to limit and censor what your kids say, that doesn't make any sense to me. I can see how this type of phrase can spiral out of control and create a lot of issues. But yes, I agree with everything Danielle said. That's one thing I wanted to add is like, especially with children, you should not tell your children that at all. There are lots of things that I told my aunts that my mom couldn't have helped me with. I know my mom told me this. Like she said, reach out to people. There are things that you're not going to want to talk to me about. She's like, no matter how much you love me, you're just not going to want to talk to me about it for whatever reason. And she was right. And my sisters were like this. My brothers were like this. It's always good to tell your kids that they can reach out for help, and there are people in their circle outside of you. Yeah.
Thank you, Kris. Thank you. Real quickly, in honor of who wanted to hear the song. Yeah, take you out and show you some love. Yeah, it's all about. Once we get fucked up, it's your birthday. So let's party and have some fun. It's your birthday. We'll dance till the morning comes. Happy birthday. Girl, let's step the night away. Happy birthday. Yeah. All right. And no, I do not own the rights to that song.
I have a comment about the songs. I love that we're doing the songs. This is amazing that we're having this music. But I feel like for this topic, we're really talking about like domestic violence and women sticking up for each other. Can we get a couple more of those type songs? Like, thanks for the song. Can we get more of like, let's get a Lizzo in there. Let's get a Pretty Girl Rock in there.
Don't play. Don't play.
That's what we're talking about. I like the music too, but I'm tired of hearing men sing about loving a woman when we talking about child beating us up. So can we just stick it to women empowering women? Like I'm really like, all right, Kelly's voice that was peeing on people when we talking about domestic violence. I'm just saying.
And we are talking about we are talking about abuse, and right now he has been looking quite bad with the abusiveness going on.
MarioMarion says hell no to Lizzo. Oh, well, that just gives us the green light to do some
please, no Lizzo.
Hold on, Lizzo. Hold on. Let me take a little break.
Please, no Lizzo.
Hell no to Lizzo. Hold on. I got you.
See, Love is Blind is a good one. That's one of the best ones. That's a really good one.
Oh, Love is Blind
is a really good one.
Wait, what was that? Which one?
Love is Blind by E.
Pee on You by R. Kelly.
Ooh, that's a good one. Hold on. I got some Lizzo for you. Hold on 1 second.
No, Lizzo.
Or a Pied Piper. I mean,
I just took a DNA test.
That wasn't the song I was asking for, but that was cool.
Why would you play her?
Hold on, you guys pause. So DD Unlimited says, at Hall of Fame, I agree majority of the time the person who tries to help gets hurt the most. And DD Unlimited says, hey, hello everyone, and then said something else. So as soon as that comment comes up, we'll read that. Hall of Fame says, hey, Sister DD Unlimited. And says, yeah, let's go play jam. And now, because I might have to wait, what was okay, when the other one comes out. Okay, so this is the one I saw before. So DD Unlimited says, if it causes physical, mental, verbal abuse, no. So yeah, I like that. All righty, so we're gonna go to Mrs. M3 and then Queen. And then I'm going to give my feedback. And then Luann Love has something beautiful that she's going to read before we shout out our social medias and things like that. So, Mrs. M3, it is your turn. You're on. Go ahead and give your thoughts about what happens in this house stays in this house.
Can you give us the question on the screen again?
Oh, so it was... so do you agree with the phrase, what happens in this house stays in this house, why or why not?
Okay, so I disagree with it because it's necessary to be able to vent your frustration sometimes away from the source of the frustration, just so that you can come back to your happy place and peace. But this is the thing about sharing outside of your house. So what happens in the house stays out in the house, not necessarily, but be careful who you share with, right? Mm-hmm. So you can go to people that you confide in and say it's your ministers, say it's your close friends, you know. If they don't have solutions and they've never been through your experience and they get frustrated, now who are they going to go to talk to about what you're going through? sometimes you don't know who outside of the house to talk to. And therefore, there's that 2/3 of people who just don't talk to anybody. And then you take the chance and you talk to somebody, and maybe your heart gets broken because, man, I confided in you and now everybody knows my business. You just have to be careful who you talk to. And sometimes it's a professional. You have to go to therapy and just get that out because they don't know the people you know. You're not going to see them some random place at a mall or at a grocery store, and the clerk knows your business by the time you get up there to check out, because they're, professionals and they know how to keep things to themselves. And that's why therapy helps, in a lot of ways. Now, the resources that are there depends, if you can get the resources for your, sliding fee scale or free or however, whatever level you can afford, that comes into play as well. But therapy is why it's why therapists have a job, because they're not going to sell your business. So
thank you, Mrs. M3. Thank you very much. And MarioMarion says, yes, Mrs. M3, it's best to seek professional help. Absolutely. And Mr. Hofam says, Luann with the poetry smoke. All right, Luann with the poetry smoke. All righty. And lastly, before myself, we have Queen. What are your thoughts about that phrase, Queen? What happens in this house stays in this house.
Well, I think the phrase comes from what I know, a lot of the Black community not trusting the mental health professional and not trusting or being afraid of therapy and going to get help. So I do believe in mental health. I do believe in getting help. I do believe that it's you just have to have discernment. Like, I wouldn't share everything. That's not necessarily what I think my mother never really said what goes on in this house stays in this house. She always said, you got to make sure your loose lips don't make you slip. Meaning that if you talk too much, it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. So she said, don't run out of this house with diarrhea of the mouth. Make sure you can hold something. She she's had a lot of phrases. Because I'd be the first one where I was like, well, you know what? And she was like, girl, don't be talking but anyway, so yes, I think it's just having discernment, like, going to people who you can trust, or, seeking professional help. I don't think everything needs to be shared, like we weren't allowed to really talk about what we had, because my mother was like, you never want to come across as a selfish, arrogant little brat, like not a lot of people have those things. So why you need to, if they're your friends, they'll know you have it because they're over here playing with it. Like, you don't need to run outside and say, oh, I have that. So, we just never really talked about it. It was just like, okay, you want to come over? And then that's how people knew what we had. So it wasn't, weren't showboaters, if that, makes sense. So I think, just having discernment, not going around just spreading your wings and flying everywhere, but, definitely mental health, though, getting professional help.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you very much. All righty. So my thoughts real quick. And then I do have a snippet of a song, not R. Kelly, but a snippet of a really good song. I've heard that phrase before. What happens in this house stays in this house. And I do think that sometimes it is a term used with kids so that the kids don't talk about what's going on in the house. A lot of times when it comes to abuse. And so it's a matter of, when something is being done that's wrong, you don't want everybody to know what's being done that is wrong. So you don't want everybody in your business, when in reality, you shouldn't be doing things that would make you worried about people people being in your business, if that makes any kind of sense. So I definitely don't think it should be used with kids. You know, I mean, I do believe in disciplining your kids, but there is a difference between discipline and abuse. There is a difference between discipline and punishment. So, you know, and I think understanding the two is so extremely important so that you don't blur the lines and they become one and the same, because they're definitely not one and the same. So, so I think it's definitely having discernment and being mindful. And yeah, I don't agree with that phrase. So I feel like it takes on a negative connotation when you hear it. It's one thing as far as, you know, not telling everybody, you know, as far as your financial business, things like that. But that's the thing. I think even that, it's a matter of pride. You don't want people to know what's going on because of your pride, when, you know, telling certain people can actually get you the help that you need. So I think it's being mindful when you decide to use that type of term. So, but yeah, when it comes to kids, I mean, I've never used that with my daughter. Yeah, I've never used that with my daughter at all. So, but I've heard it used before. And when I've heard it used before, it's in reference to, you know, kids. And even like when, you know, even with couples, like I've had friends that, you know, they've been in relationships and abusive relationships, and they've confided in me, and I didn't talk to everybody about what they were dealing with. I was just an ear rather than a mouth. I was an ear for them. So, and they told me things like that. So I think that sometimes it can be a term used to intimidate and control, and that's not what it should be used for at all, if you're going to use the phrase at all. So yeah. So anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. So, anywho, if the R. Kelly triggered anybody, I do apologize, because that's definitely not the intent. So,
Oh no, I was just saying, you know, because people are going to be listening.
I got you.
I know
so
people are going to be listening,
yeah.
and I know that might be like, oh, why they playing that? I mean, I love Step in the Name of Love. I mean, I can't go all the way there, you know, Chocolate Fountain, I mean, forever. Repeat. So
yeah. So, but let me play this snippet real quick.
Tell me, check your text before you play a song.
Really, MarioMarion, you're emotionally triggered? Okay, I'm sure you are. Okay. All right, so I will play this real quick. And this is Love is Blind by Eve. So this is just the chorus rather than the entire song. It's just the chorus. It's a really, really good song. If anybody who's watching has never seen it, the video is really, really good. Just the words for the entire song are really, really good. So yeah, so.
For him, that nigga had the power to make you strong for him. I thought you was a doctor, be on call for him. Smack you down, cause he said you was too tall for him. That wasn't love, baby girl, you was dreaming. I could have killed you when you said.
Okay, so yes, fair use. Yes. Okay, so yes, that is all I have to say about that. I really like that song, by the way. Oh, and Miss Austin says, that was my jam. That beat was fire. Yes, that was a really, really good song. I enjoyed that. So yeah, anyway, other than that, that is our very last question. We're gonna have Miss Lou Ann Love, our Miss Petty Penny. She's gonna read you a poem. After she does that, then I will look at my my song request. We'll do the snippet of the song request, and everybody's gonna shout out their social media. Miss Petty Penny, it is on you, my love.
thank you. Everyone has heard this poem before. Whatever. Everyone has heard this poem before. It is by a poet. I believe her name is Mary Stevens. It's called Footprints. Some places it's called Footprints. Some places it's called Footprints in the Sand. I really love this poem because anytime that I just feel like I'm alone or my world is just crazy, I actually do read this and it's everywhere around my house. And it just actually centers me, brings me back. So, footprints. One night, a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashes scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed two sets of footprints, one belonging to him and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand. He noticed that many times along the path of his life, there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed that this happened at the most lowest times and saddest times of his life. This really bothered him, and he questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'll walk with me all the way. But I've noticed that during the most troublesome times in my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you would leave me. The Lord replied, my precious, precious child, I love you, and I would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you only saw one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I really love that one. So.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That's what I love that poem. Yes. Footprints. Yes. Absolutely love it. Thank you, Miss Petty Penny.
Thank you
for that. Thank you very, very much. All righty. So real quickly, as requested, and Dee Dee Unlimited says, Amen. Amen. All righty. So, and then Miss Holophant says, Tammy played. I'm not Jermaine. Why
we are
don't
not playing no Jermaine with those
you
the
do
Gorilla
to
Glue
me?
sideburns.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry.
I have actually something a little bit better than that. This is shout out to all my beautiful ladies on the stream and the ones that are tuning in. Here we go. This is Superwoman by Alicia Keys.
Stand up and reaching for the bit of power. I hang my head from sorrow. So much. That humanity. So bearing on my shoulder. I find strength with me.
Yes, she is. She's a what?
Okay, so that was just a snippet. Y'all can catch the rest of it if y'all look it up on YouTube. But it is a.
Can I say one thing?
Tammy, stop saying it's a snippet.
Absolutely, yes,
snippet. Tammy, stop saying it's a snippet because a snippet is only 15 seconds.
It was a little bit. It was a little bit.
You almost played 45.
It was a little bit. It was a little bit. Thank
you.
You
Almost
thank
played
you.
almost a minute. Okay, so
thank you. Thank you.
So I just want to say something really quick about that song. That song for me, and with everything that I deal with, is like literally I cry listening to this song every time. Whenever I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling I need strength, if I'm feeling, because in this song she talks about single mothers. She talks, I'm not a mom, but she talks about all these different women, you know, who go through all these different things, and it just makes me feel like, you know, we're all in this together, and who doesn't want to feel like Superwoman? So yeah, if you're feeling down, definitely blast this song and take a moment, and you might feel a little bit better.
Or you can play Nas. I know I can.
I know.
Let it be.
If I
So you
went,
know what? So after everybody shouts out their after everybody shouts out their social media, that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
yeah.
All righty, let's
Just
get
don't
the
nobody want to be
party
Oprah. Can you take that back?
started.
Don't nobody want to be Oprah. Not in today's world.
Okay, so we gonna start the party off right. We gonna have Kris. Go ahead and shout out your social media, Miss Kris.
Hello. Oh, this lighting is really bright. I look so tired. Oh, wow. My name is Kris. I have a YouTube channel called The Blooming Ebony. I actually went live today, twice, technically. So I have 2 videos that you can catch up on. We talk about femininity, growth, accountability, and also respecting each other as women and men. If you are blooming, I may be the person for you. So go ahead and check me out over there, subscribe, and also you can look me up on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony as well. And please subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships. They have some great stuff coming your way.
Thank you, Kris. Thank you very, very much. All righty, Mrs. M3.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I am Mrs. M3. You can find me here every Saturday on the Ladies' Night stream. Thank you for joining our podcast. We look forward to having you back again in 7 days. Actually, catch the men's stream on Mondays and Thursday nights, 5:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. M3. All righty, next is Miss Petty Penny. Miss Petty Penny, the reader of that beautiful poem.
Thank you, thank you. My name is Miss Petty Penny on here. You can catch me on Mondays, 5:30. Also, you can catch me on Thursdays, there as well as 5:30. Right? 5:30, I believe. You can also find me on Instagram, Ladybug5150, and Facebook, Luann Love. Some of you have already subscribed to me or requested me as friends, and I have accepted. Today's topic was beautiful, and I loved everything about it, and I cannot wait for more to come. Check us out.
Thank you, Miss Petty Penny. All righty, next we got the Queen Dom.
Hi.
One of my faves.
Oh, I love you too, Luann.
No.
So
I got a blunt for you later.
Girl, I got a nectar collector for you. You're not.
No.
Let me tell you, girl. So look. So sorry, guys. Yes. So I know I always talk about not being on social media, but thanks to Mr. Hall of Fame and all his encouragement and his beautiful wife, I have made a social media comeback. You can find me on the Queen Dom with just one post on Instagram, and I'm starting a YouTube. So just look out. Next Saturday, it should have something up there. Oh, that was it.
Thank you, the Queen Dom. Appreciate that. Thank you. And congratulations on coming back strong on social media. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I'm sure that first post was, and I know it's going to continue to be even more amazing. So,
and I'll be subscribing to everyone. So far, I think I'm only subscribed to Danielle and Knowledge and Relationships, but I'm coming for y'all YouTubes.
Hey, come on. All righty, next we got my sister's keeper. All righty, Miss Danielle.
Well, thank you, Dom, for being subscribed to me. I appreciate it.
Oh no, calm down.
I can't. No. Every subscriber is very special to me.
Okay.
My name is Danielle. You can find me on Instagram, my sister's keeper, or on no, not Instagram, YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube, my sister's keeper, and on Instagram, I'm Fly Nurse Mom Wife. Saturdays here on the ladies panel, and I'm happy to be here, and I really enjoyed this panel today. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, thank you very much, Danielle. All righty,
I love your new tag. It's so cool.
Thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate it. I changed my name. I just needed something to match more of what I wanted to speak to.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we have Queen Forever 2K21.
All right, and Dom from the beautiful state of New York, we got you, girl. You know we got you.
Thank you.
You can find me on Instagram at Queen Forever 2K21. You can find me on the Knowledge and Relationships platform. Sometimes I do little pop-up visits on the Bloom and Ebony, and if you let me in, I'll come through and support you. Come and check us out.
All right, thank you, Queen Forever 2K21. And last but not least, myself.
Where your glasses at?
Well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, First Lady Tammy. You can find me here on Mondays and Thursdays, commenting and giving my feedback on the amazing topics that they have. But even more than that, you can find me here every Saturday, hosting Ladies Night with my beautiful ladies, getting a ladies' insight and perspective. You can also see me. I'm doing my Cry Slim journey on the Knowledge and Relationships channel. You can find me on Instagram at First Lady Tammy 916. Please make sure that if you are watching this video that you hit the thumbs up so that you like it. Go ahead and share it, and go ahead and subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships because it's so amazing. Not only that, subscribe to every single lady on here, their Instagram, their YouTube, whatever they shouted out. Make sure you support it because all these ladies are amazing. So,
why is your eyes closed?
Yes.
Because I'm looking like this.
Oh,
I'm so serious about what I say. So, on that note, we can tune out of me. You see how magical my fingers are? I do this. Yes. So, before we go, I just have one more thing to play, as requested.
Hey! If I work all day. That's right.
All righty, so that I don't know if that was a short part.
Tammy, I forgot to say one thing.
Yes.
You guys catch my live interview tomorrow with Knowledge and Relationships. I think it's at 5:30. Ow! And you want to see my face because these braids gonna be dead. That was good.
Okay, nice. All righty, so we have come to the end of our lovely stream. Amazing topic, amazing ladies, amazing comments, amazing everything. So with that, we're just gonna say our goodbyes, and we'll see y'all next Saturday, 5:30, with another amazing topic. Bye.
Bye.
DJ.